Welcome back to Bluegrass on this beautiful February afternoon. I'm out with some fine peeps from Texas. Of course, they're up here discussing our plans for secession. But other than that, we're doing a little bit of dog training. And so as we were talking, they were like, well, I want the full Uncle Stonnie experience. And I said, all right, well, let's just go do some stuff that we do on a regular basis around here. So I'm in True Master Dog Trainer status today. I'm just going to ride on my four-wheeler so I can keep an eye on things. And these fine people from Texas are going to hike with these dogs, and they're going to get on the brush pile challenge, and they're going to build a fire. Okay, this is a Nuttin' Fancy inspired video where sometimes he would, check people's pockets, see what they had their everyday carry. Well, this is kind of like that, only for dog adventuring. So if these guys can get through the adventure and the dogs will stay with them, they don't lose them, they don't break a leg on the small challenges, well, on the brush pile challenge, and they can build a fire, then they're going to get an A+, and I'm going to give them, well, nothing off their bill. All right, you guys ready? All right, so y'all start walking, and I'm just gonna kind of hang out back here on the four-wheeler, follow you around, try to stay out of the way. Now we'll see if it's as easy as it looks. Hey, now quick things, quick. Hey, first, come back here for a second. Without looking, what do you think is the most important piece of information that you start this adventure with?
Where's the brush pile?
Nope.
No?
Nope, nope.
Oh,
How many dogs do you have with you?
Oh, that's probably a good idea.
Hey, listen, it's harder than it looks, right? Because if you walk out there, you can do everything right, but if you come out with 7 dogs and you go back with 6, then somebody's going to be unhappy, right?
True.
So how many do you have?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And what kind of dogs do you have?
7 black labs and 1 curly black lab.
Yeah, well, no, 1 curly-coated retriever.
Retriever.
Yeah, all right. Okay, now we're good. So, go ahead.
Nope.
Now, every so often, you got to holler at the dogs, get them to come up. You got to do something to keep it interesting. Now, you got some dogs ranging pretty far, so you're going to have to kind of keep them in. Okay, so now here, on this hill here, we have a very specific task that we have to work on, okay? So as we're going down the hill, right, the dogs are going to have a tendency to want to gravitate and just follow the course around, follow the course of least resistance, right? These dogs come out here and they kind of get in the habit of going in a certain direction. As soon as your dogs get in the habit of doing something a certain way, you need to switch it up, okay? So now you're going to walk down to the end of the hill. Okay, and then you're going to try to run back up here and lose the dogs and hide behind this tree. Okay, so you're going to just walk. Yeah, there you go. Just take off walking.
Hey, dog.
Take the dogs with you. Now, right as you get around that bend, what you want to do is you're going to turn around, try to sneak away. Now, you won't be able to get away from all of them. You'll get away from who you can get away from. All right, now back up, cameraman, because they're fixing to come tearing up that hill. Not yet, not yet. Get out, get it all the way to the flat part, Texas. Now go, 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 go. But you got to call the dogs. Very good. Very good. All right, one more time. No. Yeah, that's how it works. You're going to be Uncle Stonnie. You got to put the work in.
Uncle Stonnie's going to do one more time.
You can't give up this quick, Texas. You're representing the whole, you're representing the whole state. Hey, Amy, show them. This is why Texas independence will never happen. That is not, he does not have the spirit of the Alamo in him. He's already gave up. Santa Ana can have it. Okay, go, Texas.
This is too open.
Run, 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 run. Come on, go, 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 go. Make yourself interesting. Make yourself be somebody that dogs want to spend time with. Okay.
I only got one of those in me.
That's not bad. That's not bad. It's harder than it looks on TV. Okay, now y'all can just go ahead and start walking. It's downhill for a little ways now. Hey, now you got to have enough wind in you to call them. Sound, you know. There you go. There you go. Sound a little bit excited. I brought the four-wheeler in case you need to be medevaced.
May not need to be medevaced. Get a ride out.
I have a doctor in tow. For those of you who are worried, I have a doctor behind me for when Mr. Texas gives up the ghost here. Very nice. All right, so now we had a little flat ground, give these fine people from Texas a cardio break, but now we got to start going up another hill. So we're going to see. We're going to kind of see what's going on. And of course, like in every video, some dogs got to go potty. Okay, you're losing some dogs in the creek. Now I want you guys to notice, hey, what do those dogs have that they're carrying around all the time? Sticks. Ain't that crazy how much dogs love sticks? Hey, do you have trees on your ranch in Texas? Do you? Okay, now we're gonna go around. We're gonna go around, take that same route, but this time we won't do any sprinting. We're just gonna keep, we're gonna keep moving. And then kind of what's going to go on is the dogs are going to calm down enough to make it safe to try to get them on the brush pile. How many dogs do you have with you?
8.
You got all 8? Okay. Okay, now what I want you to notice is that when we first got out here, the dogs were like really scattered. Okay, now what we're looking for is for the dogs to start to kind of bunch up and realize we're all on the same page. So when you're walking with your dogs, just always understand that when you first get out of the car for your hiking spot or you first get to a new area, right, there's going to be a lot of youthful exuberance. It's going to shoot them off in different directions, okay? So, like, don't get upset about it. Don't go out of your way, like, to try to micromanage them, you know? They're going to start to self-regulate. Look, see, as those tongues start to hang out, what do we call that?
Fatigue meters.
Fatigue meters, that's right. And so this time we're going to just walk on down and we're going to turn left to go up towards the brush pile. And, you know, the dogs, like it's a balancing act. You're always trying to leave the dogs with enough energy to do what it is that you want to do, but not so much energy that they're reckless. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Come on, Luke. Let's go, buddy.
Now, if you have one that's lagging a little bit, like Luke, he's a little bit lower energy than these other dogs, and so he could do a couple of things. He might show up later, okay?
Hey, buddy.
Or he might shortcut us and go on to the brush pile because he knows that's probably where we're headed. You got to remember, when you're out doing fun adventure type stuff, you don't want to reduce it to necessarily a series of right and wrong answers. You know what I'm saying? Because your overall goal is just to get out, get moving, and do interesting things and learn as a result of interacting with the environment, okay? Okay, but now, I mean, of course, I mean, safety issues, right? You don't want them to go too far, okay? You don't want them to, you know, fall off the bluff. You don't want them to get in the barbed wire, okay? But for the most part, what we're doing is we're trying to go out and let the dogs learn to self-regulate, because that's how it's been for the history of humanity's relationship with dogs. Only in the recent times has it been like people actively trying to teach dogs very specific sets of cued behavior. For most of mankind's history, just they go places with dogs and the dogs learn. Okay, now we're at the world famous brush pile challenge. Okay, so now what is the point? Do you guys remember the point of the brush pile challenge?
Get them to feel different things in different environments.
Yeah, so what we're doing always when we're out with dogs, we're trying to, you know, learn to influence dogs. We're trying to help dogs learn to be influenced. And we're trying to make it so that environmental factors, we're trying to minimize the influence environmental factors have on their performance. Does that make sense? Right? Okay, so what we use the brush pile for is to show them that all of the stuff that we taught them in their formal training can be transferred to an informal environment, one where it's not necessarily predictable, because the brush pile changes every week. The wood, like, it gets soggy. We have to add wood, take wood away. Sometimes we burn wood in the campfire and stuff. So the brush pile is a unique experience every time. Okay, so I'll back up a little bit here. Okay, now so your job, because the dogs obviously are having a good time just doing what they want to do, your job is to say, look, I'm going to go on this brush pile and it's going to be interesting. Come with me. Okay, now try not to get hurt.
Come on, Simon.
There you go. It's harder than it looks. There you go. Very good. Now if you need to, just stay on all fours, you know. Very good. Okay. Now, so what your goal here is to do is, so you're trying to make it to the apex of the brush pile. There we go. Good. Now be careful. Hey, be careful trying to bend over and pet them too much, because you'll lose your balance and hit your dome on one of those logs. Now, another thing that you have to be careful about is you have to be exciting enough to make the dogs want to get up there with you, but not so exciting that if they get up there with you, they're going to spaz out and cause you to fall down. Now, and it comes in terms of motivation. I see that both of you guys are trying to encourage them and pet them and praise them a little bit. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that you need something else. You could have a retrieving item. You could have food. But remember, every time that you try to use extrinsic motivation, that there is a price to be paid. You know, if you're doing treat work, sometimes the dog will get to nosing at your hands trying to get the treat work. You can fall down. Obviously, if you start to throwing stuff off of that brush pile, your dog can take a misstep and get its leg hung up in between, like that right there. And things can break, you know. Now, another factor to consider if you're thinking about doing this kind of work is, like, you know, at different ages, dogs and people have different, you know, degrees of physical resilience. So this is the kind of thing that it's really dangerous. And you have to be very careful, not put yourself in a position where you're going to hurt yourself or your dog. Now, normally what we'll do is we'll make a few rounds around all the trails, but you guys look like you're fading a little bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to the campfire spot, and we're going to do a little campfire safety. And I'm going to give you a little nut and fancy pocket dump check to see if you could build a fire when you needed to. I got some sticks for y'all to rub together. Okay. Now, what do you guys think is the most integral part of teaching a dog about campfire safety?
Stay out of it.
Distance?
You have to build a fire. Okay, so now listen, back up and show them. Hey, for all you guys who are always emailing me, asking me if you could be a dog trainer, if you can like come work for me. This is what you would need to know if you could be a dog trainer. You need to know that I'm going to do things like park a big wagon full of limbs and have you distribute the limbs in such a way that it makes it easy for people who want to come out here and learn to build campfires. Because being a dog trainer can't be learned on the internet. Got to be learned in real life. And there's this much dog training and this much labor. If you ain't willing to accept that, don't email me. All right, now, so
Where do you want to do this?
do you have the means of starting a fire that you know of? When you leave the house, do you normally carry
Normally, yes.
a kit, but you don't have it now?
Not on me today.
Okay, do you have a kit?
Oh, heck no.
You don't.
Well,
Now, can you improvise?
I could probably improvise, but not on YouTube.
Well, I could do that. I mean, we can make stuff blow up.
Okay, all right. Well, and so that puts you in a bind. So we might do a little stick rubbing, but we'll do that. If you're gonna set the stage to build a fire, how are we gonna lay our wood out? Let's do that.
Put tinder underneath. You put either very small sticks in a cross pattern above
Hey,
that.
do you have a rule? Do you have a rule for how you choose what your fuel?
There is a rule. I don't know
Hey,
what it is.
Charlotte, come over here and help these fine Texans learn to build a fire. Okay, so they need to lay out a fire. Okay, so look at the camera. Well, come over here and look at the camera because the microphone. If you're gonna pick, if you're gonna pick your wood for a fire, what's the rule?
Pencil lead, pencil, finger, thumb.
Pencil lead, pencil, finger, thumb. Okay, so back up and show the whole, that we're cheating for you a little bit because we already have a whole bunch of wood for you. All right, now following the rule of pencil, lead, pencil, finger, thumb, chooses some wood there and come over here and lay it out. And I'm gonna give you, since I, obviously am Texas Independence adjacent, I'm gonna give you, I'll give you a little cheat code on starting a fire. Hey, listen, that is, yeah, that's an issue. That's an issue too. Like a helpful pointer is I would get like enough to start me a little fire, and then I would go about like going and finding bigger pieces of fuel to keep the fire going. So I'd want to get it started at first. Okay, so now that ground's wet and this wood's a little bit wet. So we're going to have to probably take and build some kind of floor for our initial bit of fire, right? Okay, so what I would do if I were you is I would take some of this wood and I would lay out and I'd make me a little floor like this. And I would get enough, yeah, there you go. Get enough to be kind of like that. Now this will eventually burn, but the point of this right here is not
Airflow.
to be fuel. It's, yes, keep it dry and you make sure that you have plenty of airflow.
You take that.
Hey, what are you doing, nerd?
Bigger.
Get back. Okay. So at this point, hey, and this is why, like, this is why people who judge, like the pioneers, it's really unfair because they don't understand just how much effort goes into just getting by every day.
You'd have to keep this thing going 24/7.
It's just a lot of work. Now, this is also why, like, don't have this fantasy about, you know, going out in the woods and surviving because it's impossible for normal people.
We might have all the woods out back in the house,
Uh-huh.
but we can just walk into the house and be warm.
Well, you can walk into the house right now because it's there.
It'll be there.
Well, you just don't.
Generator will be there.
You don't know how that's.
500 gallons of propane will be there.
Hey, so we don't know.
Solar panels will be
Hey, we don't know how this. We don't know how this secession is going to go. It might be there, and somebody else might be possessing it.
I know how it's going to go.
All right, so I'm going to give you guys a little help, right? Okay, so I don't leave the house without having a fire kit in the winter because I know, like, that, well, just things can happen, right? So I have a simple emergency kit here. It's a little Altoids can, and in it I have some wax-covered cotton balls, and we're really going cheat code today. We have a Bic lighter in here. So I'm going to give you one Bic lighter, okay, and one wax-coated cotton ball. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it, but like, I don't think that what you got there right now is going to be sufficient to get you a good fire started. Okay.
A lot of green.
A lot of green. So I would look around here and I would say, like, based on what's in my environment, could I find something that would that would burn for a little while so I could get this other stuff to go?
Where's your hatchet?
Now, did you hear that? That's Bernie Sanders level there. Where's your hatchet? Now, where's my hatchet? Okay. Now, so he's got a knife. Okay, he's got a knife. So, what are you going to do with that knife? What with and this wood? Okay. All right. Now, listen. Do not cut yourself on YouTube. I'll get in trouble. There we go. Good. Very good. On the inside it's dry though, and that's what's important. You can always find wood that's a little bit wet on the outside, and so when you go to whittling on it a little bit, what you'll do is you'll get down to the dry. There you go. And then this is right here, if you pile that up good, okay, and you take that cotton ball and put under it, that cotton ball is you pull it out a little bit, catch it on fire, and this is gonna catch then. But still not going to be enough to catch that on fire, right? So we're going to have to take, since we found this piece of this pallet here, we're going to have to figure out a way to split that. Now, what will usually get you when you're out here doing this is that as soon as you get your little pile, the dog's going to walk through it. Right. And so as a good training exercise, you know, what you would do is you just kind of put your dog out of the way.
Son, back up, back up. So sit.
Now, so this is one of the things that, like, you know, it's kind of a funny thing that we're doing. We're just out here trying to build a fire and climb on the brush pile. But the bigger issue that I'm trying to explain to you guys is that everything looks easy on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing like survival stuff on YouTube, it looks easy. When you're doing camping stuff, hiking stuff, dog training stuff, it always looks easy. Okay? And then when you go to do it, what I find happens the most is people will watch my dog training videos, and then when they go out and it's not as easy as it looked on TV, they, you know, kind of get demoralized. You see what I'm saying? You know, like the pressure of building a fire and realizing how many minutes this is eating up of this video is probably really wearing on you, you know, because you don't.
Say you edited the video.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're not, you know, I might speed this up, but I'll try my best not to jump cut it, you know. But basically, there's a lot of pressure right here because, like, he's got his knife, and, you know, Texans are supposed to carry sharp knives. His knife's a little dull. He's having a hard time processing this wood. You know, he didn't have his lighter with him. You know, listen, I know you guys out there are thinking about making some comments right here, but, you know, unless you can post a video of you doing better, then we gotta, you know, we gotta give Mr. Murphy here like a little bit of love. Now this is what's gonna get him, and this is where the curse words are gonna start coming, right? Because he's put all this work into getting this little pile of kinder, and look what's gonna happen. And this right here is the real truth of dog training right here. You know, something as simple as just going and building a campfire. This is what's involved. Okay.
Where's that at?
Look what they've done to your.
Well. Okay.
Oh, we're eating them. Because we put them down there.
Now I actually might have to like speed some of that footage up because my microphone had fallen off, so I don't know how much we got. Okay, so build you a little teepee or a little log cabin or whatever you need to do. And I'm gonna get back on my four-wheeler because I'm in master dog trainer. Y'all have already drugged me out to do stuff below my pay grade.
Yeah, it was somebody's bright idea.
My idea to make a fire.
Oh no, but you wanted to get the full Stonnie experience now, didn't you?
Now listen, guys, this right here, I'm gonna go ahead and branch out into marriage counseling now. Hey, because dog training and being married at the same time, that's even more tough, you know.
34 years says we're going to be married in 2020.
34 years.
36?
36. And one trip to Stoney's changed 36 years of marriage. Okay, now y'all tell me when you're ready, because you only get really one shot at this. If you know, I mean, if you blow this, you're in bad shape.
Somebody already had all the Boy Scout training. Hey, come here.
You always have to remember that, you know, most skills are perishable. And so you got to keep practicing, you know. That's another thing that'll get you with your dog. Like you'll get to where your dog's pretty good at hiking, you know, and then like maybe all winter you don't go hiking, and then the first time out the dog doesn't do great, and so you get disappointed. It's just not realistic to think that like everything's always going to go perfect, and that's what I try to really, you know, drive home to people is that, you know, dog training is not perfect. You're going to come out and you're going to do some interesting stuff, and like, you know, might or might not work. But the thing is that your dogs are still learning, you know. Now during all this time where you guys are fixated on building this fire, there's no telling where the dogs are. So you can't be so fixated on the fire that you lose your dogs. All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna call time on you guys. That's not gonna work either. So you don't have to do that. Okay. All right. So, what we learn?
dry wood handy.
Huh?
Have dry wood.
Well, I mean, you learn to be prepared, right? Okay. So in life, you're going to look at things like, say, watch my dog training channel. And then you're going to go out and you're going to try to do all the things I do. And guess what? It's not going to look like.
Not easy.
Well, it's just not going to look like it when I do it. It's very simple. What you always have to remember is that with everything in life, it can be simple, but simple and easy aren't the same thing. And so we did a little bit of walking, not much, just a little bit. Okay, about the second time we went to run up that hill, Kevin said, hey, listen, that's enough. I've had enough. You know, hey, you don't have to do everything I do to be a successful dog trainer, right? Okay, these guys are going to go home and they got their own way of doing things. All I'm trying to do is get them out and get them moving and help them do interesting things. The interesting things that they do don't have to be the same things I do. Okay, when they get moving, they don't have to move as much as I move. As I get older, I'm not going to be able to move as much as I move today. Okay, but don't get upset, because I know Kevin, because he's the kind of guy that he wants to do everything perfectly. You know what I'm saying? And like, I put that nut and fancy pocket check on him. He knew he was in trouble because he didn't have a fire. See, now he's prepared for one style of pocket check, right? But not the one I put on him. And he come out here and he was fixated. I wish you guys could have seen how intently he was trying to start that fire, because he didn't want it to end like this. But did it really matter? No, because what matters, we're out here, we're having fun, the dogs are having a good time, okay? And there was a lot of learning to be done, okay? The main thing Kevin learned is to be more prepared when he comes and visits Uncle Stonnie, right? Okay, but what the dogs got to learn is it's fun to go out with Dad, because all the dogs, they kind of come over, see what Dad's doing, and like, they didn't care whether he got a fire started, you know? Like, it didn't matter. Show them your hands. Those hands. Those are kind of hands. Those are good dog trainer hands right there. That means you had a successful experience. So when you're training your dog, okay, just go out, do something interesting, find something challenging for yourself and for the dogs, and don't get so caught up at the end point. It's not the end point that matters. It's the process, it's the journey. And if you look at it like that, all of your dog training sessions are going to be successful, and I think Kevin's been very successful, so you guys should give him some love down in the comment section, because I know him, and he's going to be tore up that the whole world knows he doesn't know how to build a campfire. All right, I'll see you guys next week.